You're watching Carlyle's Picks, and on Mondays, I like to do aviation or yacht videos. A lot of the yacht tours or marine-related videos. We'll do watercraft and all kinds of things. That is what we normally do on Mondays here on Carlyle's Picks. If you have not subscribed, you definitely want to do so. A lot of original content here, and I definitely interact a lot with my subscribers, and not much ads on this channel at all. So today I want to talk about the secret of flying private in terms of the advantages, one of the big advantages of flying private. One of the secret advantages that a lot of people are not aware of. If you have not flown private, then you're probably not aware of a key advantage to flying private, because all you see is Hollywood. Hollywood is all about entertainment. So, they even get married as publicity stunts, right, in Hollywood, those actors and musicians. So, a lot of they're very showy. So when you look at that, when you consider that, all you're seeing is this lavish lifestyle and all this kind of stuff, and that's what they show to you. But there is another side. There is a business side. There is another angle that you're not going to be aware of if you're not living in that world. So I'm going to reveal to you a big secret about the speed advantages in flying private. Now, some of you may think, the fancy jets are flying so fast. Mach 3, Mach 4, Mach 5. Right. You are wrong. Now, there is a potential to fly faster because a commercial aircraft is going to fly in an efficient manner. They're getting a certain amount of money from the passengers. They've got to make a decent amount of profit for everything to make sense. So they're going to fly at a speed that balances the flight time that's acceptable to the passengers versus their profit versus their loss scenario. What's the cost that it takes for them to fly the aircraft to the destination? The crew, maintenance, and everything else that's involved in an airline, commercial airline business. How much money you're spending versus how much money you're getting in from those tickets. Fuel costs are astronomical. You can imagine there's a lot of fuel being used by those large commercial aircraft. So you want to fly efficiently. But if you're paying the bill, you're flying private, fly as fast as you want to, as long as you stay within a certain constraints. Now, you don't have speed limits like in a commercial, realm on the ground like cars. But just like with boats got to be a certain distance from the dock. An aircraft needs to be above a certain altitude. Once you have crossed that altitude or passed that altitude or exceeded that altitude, you are able to fly as fast as your aircraft can safely travel, your maximum cruising speed, as much as you can manage in terms of there's other regulations as well. You need to be able to make it to your destination with a certain amount of reserve fuel left in your aircraft. If you can make it there at the desired speed within the regulation of the minimum reserve fuel regulation, and you're above the altitude and there's no air traffic issues, because based on your speed, you could, if there's another aircraft that's going to be in your heading wherever you're headed to, that's at the same altitude, and you're going to cross paths, then that's going to be an issue. But easily solvable. Air traffic control can, direct you to a higher altitude, lower altitude, whatever it is. But as long as you don't have any issues like that, pretty much you can fly as fast as you can safely fly, and as much as, your pockets can handle because your fuel costs. Now, this is an extreme example, but I'll just for reference, a little interesting information. A fighter aircraft like a Falcon, F-16 Falcon, at top speed with afterburner, you are burning fuel at an astronomical rate. I'm talking about you can literally hear, there's a gauge that, I don't know about the new aircraft, but I know, say, late 90s, there's a fuel gauge that's showing you all the fuel. Because, whenever you go into afterburner, you can see these numbers spinning around. You can hear these numbers at full afterburn. And it's just... And you can see the numbers just running down. I think a good way to... Actually, here's a good example. I just thought of it right now. Think about when you go to the gas station and you squeeze that pump all the way and you see the number And imagine like one of those old pumps where you have the numbers spinning around, it's like ching, 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 ching. That is how it is, full afterburner in an F-16. Extreme example, I know, but just to illustrate, at full speed, you can burn a tremendous amount of fuel where you're going to be out of fuel in a short span of time. Now, that's a military aircraft. Where they afterburner, you're introducing a lot more fuel. I won't get into that, but commercial aircraft a little bit different, even private jets. The bottom line is, regardless of the aircraft, your top cruising speed, the amount of fuel you're burning versus cruising at a more economical speed is going to be a big difference in how much fuel you're burning. But let's move on from that. So you can fly at a higher speed. That is a potential, but that's not the big secret in terms of the speed advantages. Let's break it down. So, sound like I was about to rap. Let's break it down. Okay, let's get serious. All right, so here's our flight travel math. You can go to travel math to figure this stuff out for yourself. Flight time from Van Nuys to Miami. All right, so this is from LA to Miami, giving you the flight time. And it's going to be about the same time from LAX to Miami as well, because all we're concerned with is airtime. The airtime from Van Nuys versus LAX, it's inconsequential. I mean, that's nothing. Flying is not like driving, all right? So the distance between those airports, really not really relevant, all right? So let's do the calculation. So we're going to calculate the time, 4 hours, 27 minutes, actual flight time, right? It's not including all the nonsense that you do in a commercial aircraft. This is what it's based on. It gave you a constant speed of 500 miles per hour, and there's other variables you can add in here and stuff, but that's more for commercial. So 4 hours and 27 minutes is your actual flight time. All right? Now let's see where everything starts falling apart. So if you want to go and, come on, get out of my way. You want to go and fly commercial. You got 7:25 a.m. in the morning. You're leaving LAX. That's your airport for commercial. You're arriving 7:15 p.m., 7:14 p.m. I can't read in Miami. 7 hours, 49 minutes. That's with a stop, $657. One stop, 7 hours, 50 minutes. Now remember, this is the actual time it takes to fly there. This is not a private flight number. This is the actual flight time regardless of the aircraft. As long as you're in an aircraft and you're flying at 500 miles per hour, this is your flight time to Miami. So where do we get the 7 hours from? Obviously, a big part of that is the one stop. So let's look at nonstop. Nonstop is 5 hours. You can't see it because the stupid thing is there. There you go, 5 hours nonstop. 5 a.m. to 1:55 p.m. Look at what time you're leaving in the morning. 5 a.m. flight, $749 versus $657. All right, so let's break down the math. I did a little spreadsheet here to help you guys to understand the real difference. Let's look at the magic of flying private versus flying commercial. So here are the numbers. Wake up time, commercial, 3 a.m. Are you kidding me? 3 a.m. in the morning. That's ridiculous. That is way, way early in the morning to be getting up. By the time you've woken up, you are waking up a champion. 2 more hours of sleep. Private jet, 5 a.m. waking up, 3 a.m. flying commercial. A lot of stuff happens after that. See that big delays here? But already, waking up, you're ready 2 hours ahead. All right, you're going to leave the house 4 a.m. commercial, 6 a.m. private. 2 hours difference. Why are you leaving? By the way, I set the flight time, Pacific Standard Time, 7 a.m. Commercial and private. Put them on the same level to see the real difference in times. 7 a.m. flight. Why is the private guy leaving at 6 a.m.? Now, if you fly commercial, you know that's ridiculous. You don't leave at 6 a.m. to catch a 7 a.m. flight. I mean, are you kidding me? No. That is the beauty of flying private, and you're going to see why in a second. And actually, I'm going to show you right now. This is your travel to LAX from Beverly Hills. 46 minutes. So all that red, all that traffic, 46 minutes. And you know you got to be at the airport 2 hours before your flight. So 2 hours plus 46 minutes. You could almost call it just 3 hours just to get to the airport. 3 hours just to get to the airport. I'm not really saying that right. It's not 3 hours to get to the airport, but I mean from the time that you're leaving your house to your departure time, 3 hours. All right? Private jet. You're going to Van Nuys. Not much red. right? That's traffic. Not much traffic. 30 minutes versus 46 minutes. All right? So already you're seeing a lot of advantages here. You don't have the 2 hours before your flight thing. You don't have the traffic and flying all the way down there. All right? So all you really need is 30 minutes before your flight departure. That's what I recommend. Private jets, 30 minutes before departure. All right? And you got a 30-minute drive. So let's break it down. Let's get my spreadsheet over here. All right? So you need 30 minutes drive time, and you need to be there 30 minutes before your flight. An hour total from the time you leave your house to departure. And it's your jet. If you want to change your departure time, you can do that. You can adjust it so you're not locked in. But 1 hour from the time you leave your house, 1 hour, you're in the air, you're on your way. 3 hours before this guy can get out on a commercial jet. Waking up at 3, leaving the house at 4, 48 minutes driving. This is the 2 hours extra before your flight time. That's your check-in. You got to check in your bags, and you got to walk all the way to the gate, and you got to wait. And I'm not even telling you the whole deal. There is waiting to check in. There's the time it takes to get to your gate, and actually there's the waiting for security. Then there's the time it takes to get to your gate. All right? 7.8 hours flight time with a stop versus 4.45 private. Non-stop, 5 hours commercial. Private jet, still 4 hours 4.45. Big difference in time. But not so much in the actual flight time. This is the flight time. So you can see the flight times are not actually that much different. But when you start adding up your total time from the time you leave your house and everything, 10 hours with a stop, 10.6 hours with a stop, 5.4, see, nothing has changed still. All right, now you go to non-stop, without a stop, 7.8 hours commercial, 5.45 with private. Doesn't stop there, folks. I made it really convenient. Living in Beverly Hills, you're convenient to both Van Nuys and the LAX, technically speaking. Less than an hour, you could be at either airport. A lot of times, you don't live close to major airports. Let's look at the map. So when we get to Miami, and first of all, let me show you, even in California, what if you don't live in Beverly Hills? This map shows all of the airports in California. Not just the major airports that you know about, the LAX. There's other airports. You see all these little red dots? All these little red dots? Those are other airports as well. So if you lived, say, way out here, you could have an hour and a half to 2 hour drive just to get to the closest major airport. 2 hours just to get to the airport. Because if you don't live close to the airport, again, you got to add that time. Now look on the other side. This is Florida. So those little red dots, those are all little airports that you could potentially land your private jet, saving you a lot of time in terms of flight time. I'm running out of time in this video, but if you lived here, you're flying into Miami International, that's a long drive. This is actually about 2.5 hours from Miami. 2.5 hours from here to about here, I would say. That's a long time, and you're adding it to your trip time. So your total trip time could be over 10 hours flying commercial versus flying private. It's much, much faster. See that? 6 hours, 20 minutes flying private versus 10 hours flying commercial. And that is the secret of flying private jets versus flying commercially. If you made it this far, that means you must have enjoyed this video. I've got over 700 videos. I do about 2 to 3 videos per week or more. You're going to want to go ahead and click on the subscribe button so you can get notified when I upload new videos. I am one of the few people on YouTube that realizes that I work for you guys. So I listen to my subscribers, I respond to my subscribers. It means a lot to me, but for you, it's just a matter of one click.